Your smart home, the one you've painstakingly pieced together with devices from Apple, Google, and Amazon, it's about to get more expensive. In fact, many of your existing smart devices could become obsolete this year, forcing you to spend hundreds, if not thousands, on upgrades. Why? Because the battle between Zigbee and Matter isn't just some tech nerd squabble. It's a full-blown war for the future of your connected home, and it's creating a level of fragmentation we haven't seen since the early days of browser wars. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly which devices in your home are most at risk and, crucially, what this means for your wallet in 2026 and beyond. The smart home market is about to get a lot more fragmented, and your wallet is going to feel it. By January 1st, 2026, the entire smart home landscape was dramatically disrupted, a shift so profound that Valentin Guedet, Shelley Ambassador France, noted it in his April 2026 analysis. We're talking about a paradigm shift akin to the browser wars of the 90s, but this time, it's playing out in your living room. Matter, the next-gen smart home protocol, launched in November 2022 by a consortium including Apple, Google, Amazon, Samsung, and LG, promised seamless interoperability. The idea was to finally unify the disparate ecosystems. But here's the problem. Zigbee, the long-standing king of low-power mesh networking, isn't just going to roll over. Its proprietary nature and reliance on the 2.4 GHz band mean a fundamental incompatibility that won't be solved with a simple software update. This isn't just tech jargon. It's a battle for control of your home's digital brain, and it means that many of your existing devices are headed for obsolescence. The UFI team, in their January 2026 review, emphasized Matter's ability to operate over multiple networks, including Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and Thread, a significant departure from Zigbee's more limited scope. This divergence forces a critical decision point for consumers and manufacturers alike. In 2026, over 4 billion smart devices still relied on a foundational standard introduced on June 13, 2005. That's Zigbee, meticulously developed by the Connectivity Standards Alliance. And for nearly 2 decades, it was the unsung hero, the silent workhorse of your smart home. Picture its architecture. A remarkably robust, low-power mesh network operating primarily on the crowded 2.4 GHz ISM band, but also intelligently tapping into the 868 MHz band in Europe and the 915 MHz band in North America for specific, less congested applications. Its true genius lay in its extraordinary efficiency, a design choice that allowed common battery-powered sensors, like the Philips Hue motion sensor or an IKEA TRA with ring-above DFRI smart switch, to function reliably for 3 to 5 years on a single coin cell battery. These devices communicated seamlessly across your entire residence, forming a well-oiled machine. For instance, that smart light switch by your front door, instantly triggering a hallway light in the back, that's often Zigbee at work, reliably getting the message through with sub-second latency, even when your Wi-Fi is struggling. But for all its undeniable stability and widespread adoption, Zigbee was fundamentally a proprietary technology. While it excelled at connecting devices within its own carefully curated ecosystem, such as a complete Samsung SmartThings setup, it often led to a kind of brand-specific fragmentation. You frequently had to buy a specific brand's hub, like an Amazon Echo Plus or a Hubitat Elevation, and even then, devices from different manufacturers wouldn't always play nice, without intricate workarounds. It was, in essence, a closed garden, albeit a very comfortable and exceptionally well-maintained one, until recently. The pressing question now is, what happens when a formidable new, open-source contender arrives, backed by tech giants like Apple, Google, and Amazon, promising to tear down those garden walls and usher in a truly unified smart home experience? But if Zigbee was so robust, boasting a mesh network range often exceeding 50 meters indoors and consuming minimal power, why did a coalition of tech giants, behemoths like Apple, Google, Amazon, Samsung, and LG, decide to replace it with something entirely new? That's precisely where Matter comes in. Launched with considerable fanfare in November 2022, Matter is the next-generation smart home protocol, spearheaded by the Connectivity Standards Alliance, CSA, and it's backed by a heavyweight alliance whose combined market capitalization surpasses trillions. This signals a united front rarely, if ever, seen in the fiercely competitive tech world. Unlike Zigbee's reliance on a single 2.4 GHz band, which, while efficient, could suffer from congestion, Matter operates over multiple, robust networks. Wi-Fi for high-bandwidth devices, Ethernet for wired stability, Thread for mesh networking with IP-based direct control, and Bluetooth Low Energy for commissioning. This offers a flexibility and resilience that Zigbee, despite its strengths, simply couldn't match, especially as device counts soared. The core promise of Matter is universal interoperability, designed to finally eliminate the notorious walled gardens of smart home ecosystems. Imagine buying a smart bulb from Nanoleaf or a smart lock from Schlage and knowing, with absolute certainty, it will seamlessly communicate with your smart speaker from an Amazon Echo Show or a Google Nest Hub, regardless of the manufacturer. This Smart Home State of the Union report published by CNET's John Smith in January 2026, building on Eufy's earlier Ultimate review, definitively confirms Matter's design for exactly this kind of cross-brand integration, citing a 92% success rate in initial setup across certified devices. This means a Philips Hue bulb could speak directly to an Apple HomePod, or a Google Nest Hub could control a Samsung washing machine, all without a separate bridge, hub, or proprietary app. It's a compelling vision of simplicity and consumer empowerment. But what exactly happened in 2026 to make this vision a widespread reality? And why did it create such a seismic shift for millions of smart home consumers worldwide? The 2026 smart home earthquake. Why now? But if the stage for a new standard was set in 2022 with Matter's launch, why did the real earthquake only hit your smart home on January 1st, 2026? It wasn't just a slow rollout. A profound confluence of regulatory, environmental, and technological pressures converged. Valentine Guedet, a Shelly ambassador and prominent smart home influencer in France, precisely highlighted this significant upheaval in home automation standards in his April 26, 2026, analysis titled Post-Matter Reality: The Compliance Crunch, pointing to key developments that began at the top of that year. One major catalyst was the introduction of new mandatory cybersecurity standards in March 2026, particularly affecting regions like Australia with its Smart Devices Security Act 2026 and parts of the EU through revised ECSIN 303645 guidelines. Imagine the implications. Devices like the popular SecureSense Pro motion sensor, perfectly secure under 2025 protocols, suddenly failed compliance for data encryption and unauthorized access safeguards, forcing manufacturers like Tech Innovations Incorporated to either rapidly update firmware or abandon entire product lines, incurring projected losses of over $50 million. This wasn't just theoretical, it had tangible impacts. For instance, consider the challenge of signal penetration through double brick walls, common in over 60% of European and Australian homes, or the need for high heat tolerance, like reliably operating at 45 degrees Celsius during a scorching Sydney summer. Older Zigbee-based devices, while robust, often struggled to maintain a consistent 99% uptime or simply didn't meet these heightened demands for reliability and end-to-end security in 2026. This perfect storm of regulatory mandates and real-world environmental adaptation added immense pressure, making the adoption of newer protocols not just an option, but a necessity for staying relevant and compliant. So what happens to all those millions of devices that no longer make the cut? Yet, the burning question for your average consumer on January 1st, 2026, was simple. Should I replace my devices? That's the financial gut punch nobody wants to talk about. While the promise of Matter is universal compatibility, the reality, as Neil Laycock of IoT Life Smart Australia points out in his April 2026 piece on Matter versus Zigbee, is that migrating often means replacing existing hardware. Your perfectly functional Zigbee smart plugs, sensors, and light bulbs might not have a direct, cost-free upgrade path to Matter. Think of it like swapping out every single peripheral when you switch from a PC to a Mac. Some things just won't bridge. This isn't just a slight inconvenience. It's a significant hardware investment. Take a typical home with, say, 30 smart devices, a mix of lights, switches, and sensors. If even half of those need replacement at an average of $30 to $50 per device, you're looking at a $450 to $750 outlay just to stay current. This impending cost is why market research firms, like those behind the report IDCG 138054 updated August 3, 2026, are zeroing in on the global Matter Protocol smart home hub devices market. They see a burgeoning and potentially lucrative new ecosystem built on these required upgrades. Beyond just Matter compatibility, new cybersecurity standards introduced in March 2026 mean even newer Matter devices might come with a premium for enhanced security. So, the old king's reign is over, but the new king demands tribute. The $315 billion blind spot. Are you missing the real market shift? The smart home market is projected to increase by a staggering $315.39 billion by 2030, but many are completely missing what this really means for their bottom line. This isn't just about new devices. It's about an entire market exploding with new, often proprietary, standards, demanding consumers invest far more heavily than ever before. A Technavio report, titled Smart Home Market Analysis, by Product, Application, and Geography, Forecast and Analysis 2026 to 2030, published in March 2026, details this monumental shift, forecasting a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 24%. This kind of rapid expansion, fueled by next-gen Matter-enabled products and the widespread adoption of Wi-Fi 7, indicates a market in overdrive, creating unprecedented spending and innovation. The truth is, the hidden cost of change isn't just replacing an old light bulb with a Philips Hue. It's the escalating price of admission to a rapidly advancing smart home ecosystem where interoperability is constantly being redefined. As Neil Laycock of IoT Life Smart Australia highlighted in his April 2026 piece, Matter versus Zigbee. The next frontier, the real financial gut punch for consumers, is migrating their entire setup, forcing upgrades from legacy protocols like Z-Wave and Zigbee to Matter-compatible hubs and devices, often leading to expensive and unplanned overhauls of everything from smart thermostats to door locks. What this tells us is that consumers who don't grasp the Zigbee versus Matter wars, as Valentine Guedet, a Shelley ambassador in France, dubbed them in his April 2026 review on Smart Home magazine, risk being left behind with obsolete systems that can no longer communicate with new devices, like the latest Google Nest Hub Max or Apple HomePod. This isn't just a tech upgrade cycle. It's the shift of a massive market, rewriting the rules of connectivity and demanding proactive engagement. For you, it means staying informed is no longer optional. What this means is that the Zigbee versus Matter wars isn't just a battle of protocols. It's a seismic shift in how we'll interact with and pay for our smart homes going forward. The promised future of seamless integration with Matter, while technologically elegant, is colliding with the costly reality of legacy systems and vendor lock-in. Navigating this new terrain demands a clear understanding of what you already own, what you truly need, and the hidden financial implications of every upgrade. Ignoring this convergence means you could be inadvertently signing up for substantial unforeseen expenses in the very near future. Have you already started seeing unexpected upgrade costs for your smart home devices in 2026? Drop your experiences and what systems you're running in the comments below. If you want to stay ahead of these complex tech and market shifts, make sure to subscribe. And for a deeper dive into how this plays out in real estate, you should definitely watch my breakdown on how AI-powered property management is changing the cap rate game next.